Welcome to part 12 of Project 308. I'm Lou Trottier, and this is my 1978 Ferrari 308 GTS. Where to start is the question. Walking around the car in circles and circles and circles, and looking at everything and trying to decide, do I start here? Do I start there? Well, I think I'm going to do wheel by wheel, get the suspension done on it first and all the brakes repaired. But prior to that, before I get any more parts off this car, I'm actually going to head back to the engine and transmission and remate them and join them and get all those parts put back together, because there's parts everywhere all over the shop. Alright, so now for the moment of truth, we're going to try hooking up our engine crane to my motor and see if it picks it up okay. Just a quick little throwback to part 11 where I made these new engine support brackets. And of course the proof is in the pudding, so let's test them out. I believe I made the brackets strong enough so they're not deflecting at all, which is great. Nice. Man, I'm pretty happy with the way that worked out. Alright, so I'm just cleaning all my nuts and bolts right now. These are the lower pan, well, not really pan, the transmission to the engine bolts. Now between the engine and the transmission there's actually no gasket. Kind of crazy. So we're going to use some of this stuff here. This is like Permatex. There's a lot of products you could use. Anything but RTV. There is some stuff called Honda Bond, Honda Sealer. There's definitely lots of different names for it. I've used it before. I've used it forever. It's made by Permatex, and it's a white, gray, sort of called ultra gray. This stuff is the ultra gray on steroids, so to speak. We're going to apply a thin layer on the transmission before we set the engine down onto it. I'm going to try and get Terry to do it because Terry's just better at it than I am. So we were just about to mate the transmission back to the motor when I discovered an O-ring underneath. If I can find a replacement for it, I will. Great. If I can't, then I'm going to have to try and find it online and order it. But I cannot put the motor and the transmission back together until I have a solution for that little thing right there. Working on a car where parts are not readily accessible, you get this over and over and over again. Hurry up and wait. And of course, I didn't want to take a chance with a seal that wasn't perfect, so this cost me another 3 days waiting for this 30-cent O-ring. But finally, the moment of truth has arrived, and I'm finally feeling comfortable that it is time to mate these two back together. I told Terry he was applying the sealant, and that way if it leaks, I get to blame him, I guess. Yes!
Okay, very good. Yep, okay now.
Ooh, and that final drop down was really kind of satisfying. I'm going to add just a little bit more sealant to the studs. Man, I don't want this thing to leak, because if it does, that means I've got to take the whole thing back out again. Not good. And of course, we're back to the cleaning. This is the sandwich plate that separates the engine from the transmission's bell housing. It's also the housing that holds the rear main seal, a very, very important seal. No, don't jump to conclusions. I haven't forgotten the gasket. I'm just doing a trial fit. Now I'm putting the gasket on. And this is a thermo seal gasket, meaning that when it heats up, it sort of releases sealant that kind of mushes it all together, and it goes on dry. Now it's crunch time. It's the rear main seal that's going in, and these can be very, very finicky. And to solve that, I'm using a piece of plastic to guide it in. I wish I had some slower footage, but I didn't take any slower footage, so this is what you got. Next up is the flywheel. I'm gonna throw the bolts in, and then of course I'm gonna take them back out because I forgot to put thread locker on them. Just gonna take a look at my clutch right now. It is the used clutch, but we've cleaned it up, and I think you'll be pretty surprised at how good it looks. It's right there. Right there. I gotta say that clutch does not look used at all. It looks just slightly off new. It didn't really take a lot of cleaning. And that doesn't look bad at all. So I think we're gonna risk it and put it back in. I'm pretty confident that that is not gonna come back and bite me. This is the clutch that I actually took off this engine a couple months ago, and I said to myself, this thing looks pretty darn snazzy. Let me clean this thing up a bit and take a look under all this dirt. I'm pretty good at lining clutches up by eye. I haven't really required a clutch alignment tool in a fair amount of time. Let's see how I do on this one. So the idea is just to put a bit of friction on the disc so that you can just sort of move it, but just move it enough by hand, and then because if you put a little bit too much friction on, then you can't move it. All right. You take a look. Now, where you really got to pay attention is when you're walking this in, that it doesn't move. Check every once in a while. Alright. Just put a dirt in my head. I gotta go look up the torque spec. I'll be right back. You know when you're watching a documentary and the music changes suddenly and it becomes this music that's really kind of somber, you know something's about to go wrong. That bolt right there. Yep, the one I'm working on right now. I'm like, ooh, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Maybe if I go to another bolt and I'll come back to this bolt, it won't be wrong anymore. Maybe. But probably not. All right, I'll go around, and when I get back to that bolt, it's going to be okay. Right? Right? Please? Oh! And it broke. And now here's the post-game review of the losing team. You know when they interview the team off the ice or off the field and they want the reaction as to why they lost? This is it right now. That bolt felt soft, but the bolt was fatigued. Damn. Nothing goes easy on this car. Anyways, take it back off. Start over again. So, as with any car of this vintage, you take 2 steps forward, 1 back, but at least we're moving forward. I'm going to try and drill this bolt out right where it is. I don't think it's going to be that difficult to get out, so instead of taking the flywheel off and having to retorque and everything, I'm just going to do it right there. Try and easy out it backwards with a reversible drill bit. Got these right here. We go through these fairly frequently. The key is to get the start right in the very center. If I've done it properly, I can step up, and then when the bolt gets a bit thinner, it'll just grab it and pull it out. Let's give it a try. Looks like I'm a little bit off center, but I'm just going to try and deal with that right now. Why is my drill at such a weird angle? Well, I can see that my little starter indent is just a smidgen off center, and I'm just trying to walk it over a bit to the left before I start drilling. Oh, got it. It's just moved, so I'm pretty happy right now. Now that it's moving, I've just got to ease it out without scratching my freshly machined flywheel. So a good quality set of reversible drill bits, left-handed drill bits, whatever you want to call them. They're worth their weight in gold. Everybody should have a set. Total elapsed time to get that broken bolt out was probably 4 minutes. When I look at these bolts right here, the original bolts, I can see that they are a little thinner at the center body right here. I don't think I'll be able to capture that on camera, but you can see they're just a little tired. I probably should have changed them all before putting that clutch on, but hey, I know it is what it is. Anyways, put the clutch back on. Here's the problem I have. So when I go to the workshop manual here, I was on the specs, and it said the specs were to torque it to kilogram meters, right? Okay, so fixing the clutch pressure plate is 3.5 kilogram meters. That converts to 25 foot-pounds. When I go to here, and I go to Birdman, this is the guy who I get a lot of my information from. He's telling me the pressure plate bolts at 18 foot-pounds. I torqued him to this yesterday, and I broke a bolt today. Alright, I'll stick with 18 then. Okay.
And because the weather's nice out, spring's in the air, I thought I'd change the oil in my Porsche. And I thought I'd bring a video to you, but then I said, no, let me just concentrate on the Ferrari stuff.
That gasket goes there, but on the other side. Alright, so I'm going to take these out for now. What we're going to do right now is we're just going to put some assembly lube in here. Now, the idea is just to fill this little groove in here, which I'm not doing very eloquently. Just getting off the excess here. We don't actually need this much here, simply because grease attracts dirt, and the more grease, just want enough to do the job. There we go. So before I go and put all the gaskets in and get this ready for its final assembly, I'm just going to go do a dry fit to make sure my clutch is lined up properly. Alright, looking at the engine over there, clutch is on it. I've trial fitted the bell housing. It fits. Yay Lou for lining the clutch up. Now I'm going to put the seals in the bell housing and slam it on there and tighten it up. Dun, 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 dun. Probably shouldn't have done that, but alright, so this is the remainder of the parts that I have from that bin was full at the beginning of the day. Now I just have these last few remaining plate pieces. This has got to go on. This goes in the order of that, then the snap ring, then the gear. This is on the middle shaft. Okay, let's go do this.
Back in the day of doing Volkswagen shocks, this is the shock.
I don't think that's going on there, dude.
Come on!
Come on, it's nowhere near it.
Come on!
So the guy online says he just taps it with a brass grip. It almost feels like one side is going on,
That side's not.
but the other side's not, and I don't have enough hands. You can keep checking at it. Hang on. Look, show the world. Come on. Show the world 1 second.
I'm not saying it's not gonna. It's gonna fit. I'm just trying. There's no harm in trying.
Okay, there you go. Just trying to make some quality entertainment, buddy. Come on.
Okay.
Unless you got another match too. So then it takes. See how feel? See the pressure? We've got to push it. It's got to go into the groove and holds it there from walking. So I've already been here a couple times. So
You're going back down that road again, eh?
well, I figured you needed to see the demonstration.
Way
Okay.
in there now.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, it's in there, right?
In there, yes.
So I'm gonna put that way. Go there. And you have to apply pressure there on that, and we got to tap it on. You're ready.
I'm ready.
Want a hammer? Or you want me to do the tapping?
You do the tapping. I will do the holding.
Okay.
I'm with a little bit of pressure.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, a little. Yep.
There.
Yeah,
See?
there you go.
That's what my theory was. That's all I wanted you for. I wanted.
Use and abuse me, right? That's all you want.
That's all I wanted, man.
Okay, okay.
I
Never
just
mind.
couldn't have. I didn't have enough hands to do that myself.
Okay, well, in a few minutes you're gonna have to come and give me a hand too. So.
All right. There it went. That's what I wanted. You see. So yes, that is facing the right way, because if I look down here, you can see that all the gears are in line. Thank you for letting me film my video, because see, the phone rings every time. Somebody walks in the door every time. Something happens every time I push that record button. Feel that angst. Feel it. Anyways, Lou here. End of part number 12. All I have left to do is put that cover on that engine and transmission. Hey, Terry, you're full of crap. You know exactly what you're doing. Anyways, thanks, and like and subscribe and do all that kind of jazz. And see you in part number 13.